The novice moves in the field test. Inside 3 turns to rocker choctaws. Power and quickness are the 2 focuses for this move. Standards and expectations. Maintain or increase power throughout. Correct carriage in good posture. Both clockwise and counterclockwise of equal quality. Neat footwork with quick turns. And full ice coverage. This move has a maximum of 7 optional introductory steps. It combines both directions of the old patterns of the inside 3-turn rocker choctaw sequence. You may start in either direction and should change the rocker choctaws on the center axis of the rink, but must skate inside 3 turns before rocker choctaws. 4 or 5 sets should be skated per lobe. All 4 lobes should be of equal size and centered on long axis. Common errors: toe pushing on 3 turns, scratchy 3 turns, braking at the waist, inconsistent rhythm, lack of foot speed, noisy, sloppy free legs on the rocker choctaw sequence, unequal bilateral movement. This move should be forward inside 3 turns to back inside 3 turns, not forward inside 3 turns to back inside rockers. This is a common mistake. First transition. It's a forward inside edge after the last complete set of forward inside 3 turns to back inside 3 turns. The second and third transition will be an inside mohawk, change of edge, then cross in front. These should be back inside rockers to forward inside to outside closed choctaws. And not back inside 3 turns to forward outside to back outside mohawks. Novice moves. This is the forward loops. Focuses of this move are edge quality and continuous flow. Standards and expectations. The loop should be placed at the top of the lobe. Demonstrate bilateral symmetry. Demonstrate controlled rhythmic action with knee, upper body, and free leg, and maintain continuous flow throughout. This move begins from a standing start with no introductory steps. May start on either foot, but must skate outside loops first, then followed by the inside loops. This move can be done going down the long or the short axis of the ice rink. The definition of a loop. A loop is a teardrop-shaped turn formed within a circle, skated on a small circle approximately equal to the height of the skater, and on the same edge throughout. Again, this begins with an outside swing roll starting parallel to the axis. Then the skater will do 4 outside loops, doing 2 on each foot. followed by a small chasse step, then ending with 4 inside loops doing 2 on each foot. Common errors: subcurves in and out of the loops, lack of control, misshaped loops, inability to maintain flow, toe pushing, and two-footing. The loops should be skated on the top of the lobes. And the transitions should be skated on the axis. The skater must maintain a continuous flow throughout the loop pattern and not come to a stop. Novice moves: backward twizzles. Turn execution and continuous flow are the focuses for this move. This move has a maximum of 7 optional introductory steps. And this move may start on either foot, but must skate outside twizzles going first down the ice. This move is skated going down the continuous axis and cannot be done going across the short axis. Arm and leg positions are optional within the twizzles. Definition of a twizzle. A twizzle is a traveling turn on one foot with one or more rotations, which is quickly rotated with a continuous uninterrupted action. The weight remains on the skating foot with the free leg in any position during the turn, and then placed beside the skating foot to skate the next step. A series of check 3 turns is not acceptable. This does not constitute a continuous action. If the traveling action stops during the execution, the twizzle becomes a solo spin, a pirouette. The 4 different types of entry edges for twizzles are forward inside edge, forward outside edge, back inside edge, and backward outside edge. First side begins with an outside 3 turn starting parallel to the axis, to a 2-foot back power transition stepping on the continuous axis. Then a back outside double twizzle. Exiting on a back outside edge with a checked extension. Repeating with a forward outside 3 turn on the other foot. Standards and expectations. Effortless execution of twizzles. Maintain continuous flow throughout. Consistent and stable free leg positions. Full ice coverage. Controlled, balanced transitions. Maintain upper body control. Demonstrate controlled extensions on exit of twizzles. And maintain axis and lobe size. Second side starts with a forward inside to back inside mohawk. Straight into a back inside double twizzle. Exiting on a back inside edge with a checked extension. then stepping forward onto an inside edge, repeating with a forward inside mohawk on the other foot, stepping on the continuous axis. Common errors: double 3-turn action, outside twizzles, twizzles not initiated on back outside edge, incomplete ice coverage, lack of control, shallow lobes, inability to maintain flow, and loss of rhythm. Possible intro steps are up to 4 forward strokes, then a right forward inside mohawk to a right back outside extension. The skater will do 6 back outside twizzles, doing 3 on each foot. The end pattern is optional, and the second side must start on the continuous axis. Then the skater will do 6 back inside twizzles, also doing 3 on each foot. Remember that these back twizzles begin and end on the same entry and exit edge, and they are double twizzles. Junior moves test: forward and backward outside rockers. Edge quality and power are the 2 focuses for this move. Standards and expectations. True edges in and out of rocker turns. Turns need to be pointed up ice on axis. Forward inside rolls should be open strokes, not slip steps. Excellent knee rhythm, upper body carriage and posture. Look for rocker body action. Power should be reflected in flowing deep edges and knee action rather than the rate of speed. This updated move now has the skater doing 2 backward cross strokes between the forward and backward outside rocker turns. Instead of the cross in front, backward outside to backward outside transitions. The end pattern is optional. The same change for the second side. Turns are expected to be tilted and may be turned between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock on the lobe. All strokes and turns must be done as close to the continuous axis as possible. Common errors: skated too slowly, resembling a figure, lack of control after a rocker, lack of edge quality during connecting steps, obvious or blatant changes of edge before turn, weak cross strokes or connecting steps, problem executing back turns. This move has a maximum of 7 optional introductory steps. It must be skated with a forward outside swing rocker. Exit edge of the rocker should be the same size and duration as the entry edge. Hold edge after rocker turn back to continuous axis. Two forward and two backward rockers should be skated on each side of the ice. This move may start on either foot but must skate opposite foot on second side. Extra credit when skated with powerful deep edges. Junior moves. Backward loop pattern. Edge quality and continuous flow are the focuses for this move. Standards and expectations. The loop should be placed at the top of the lobe. Demonstrate bilateral symmetry. Demonstrate controlled rhythmic action, knee, upper body, and free leg. Maintain continuous flow throughout. Maintain continuous axis. And all lobes are of similar size. This new move begins from a standing start and has no introductory steps. It may also be started on either foot. But it must skate outside loops on the first side and then inside loops on the second side. The end pattern is optional. The second side must also start from a standstill, just like the first side. The skater will do 2 outside loops on each foot on the first side. And then the skater will do 2 inside loops on each foot on the second side. So for a total of 4 loops on each side. Common errors. Skating move with too much speed, subcurves, in and out of loops, lack of control, misshaped loops, inability to maintain flow, scratchy, diagonal step down on axis, change of edge not on continuous axis, loss of control on transition push after loop, inability to execute ankle, knee, and hip flexion. The first side of the move begins with an outside 3 turn starting on the axis. Followed by 3 backward inside rolls, stepping on the continuous axis each time. On the last backward inside roll, the skater will do a change of edge to a back outside edge across the axis. From the change of edge, the skater will do a backward outside loop placed on the top of the lobe. The skater will finish the set by doing a backward outside to back inside change of edge across the axis. This process is repeated by doing the 3 backward inside rolls starting on the opposite foot that the skater began with. First set is complete at the end of the 4th set. The second side of the move begins with an inside 3 turn starting on the axis from a standstill. It's followed by 3 backward outside cross strokes on the continuous axis. On the last backward outside cross stroke, the skater will do a change of edge to a back inside edge across the axis. From the change of edge, the skater will do a backward inside loop placed on the top of the lobe. Then, the skater will finish the set by doing a backward inside to back outside change of edge across the axis. This process is repeated by doing the 3 backward outside cross strokes starting on the opposite foot that the skater started the second side on. The second side is complete at the end of the 4th set. Skaters must maintain continuous flow throughout this loop pattern. Definition of a loop. A loop is a teardrop-shaped turn formed within a circle, skated on a small circle, approximately equal to the height of the skater and on the same edge throughout. Junior moves test. This is the straight line step sequence. Focuses of this move are edge quality and continuous flow. Standards and expectations. Accomplished execution of all turns, control of upper body throughout, toe steps and transitions, maintain consistent axis, mature maintenance of speed throughout rhythmic movement, strong use of knee and ankle, demonstration of an accomplished and undisturbed upper body. This new move begins from a standing start and has no introductory steps. All rockers and counters should be turned on the axis. All twizzles are skated parallel to the axis. Toe steps double 3 turns, and loops are also turned parallel to the axis and are placed on the tops of the lobes. Make sure the edge doesn't change right before all the rockers and counters. Hold the edge and extension after loop back to the axis at the end of the move. Common errors: counters and rockers skated as 3 turns. Unclear twizzles, they look like double 3s. Inability to maintain rhythmic knee action. Loss of flow. Scrape turns. Inability to maintain axis, and incorrect turn placement. This move starts from a standstill and has no introductory steps, and should be skated with performance quality. This move begins with 2 open strokes that can be placed anywhere as long as the 3rd step of the move is placed on the axis. The skater will then push into a forward outside rocker, which should be turned on the axis. Then, the skater crosses in front to a backward inside rocker, which enters immediately into a forward inside counter. Both of which also turn on the axis. The leg placement can be in front or behind after the counter. Next is a backward outside double twizzle that should be skated away from the axis to make room for the next steps. Then stepping forward parallel to the axis into a chassé swing forward outside counter. This counter is the middle marker of the pattern and should be turned on the axis. Next is a back inside cross in front. Then skating down ice, doing 3 toe steps and another cross in front to a backward inside edge. The skater will next step forward onto an inside edge across the axis. Then pushes into a forward inside 1.5 twizzle, coming out on a backward outside edge. Next, the skater will do a power pull change of edge onto a backward inside edge across the axis, skating into a backward inside double 3. Then, strokes across the axis into a back inside rocker, then immediately into a forward inside rocker. Both rockers are turned on the axis. Next, the skater strokes across the axis and does a backward inside loop on the top of the lobe, and then brings it back to the axis to finish. The sequence is then repeated, starting from a standstill on the other foot. The connecting steps on the end pattern are optional. Make sure to check the first twizzle so that the chassé can be skated down ice, so as to create room to be able to fully do an outside edge into the counter. That counter should be placed in the middle of the rink. Place the second twizzle at the top of its lobe and not in the beginning. Again, the end pattern is optional. The skater must start the second side from a standstill and do the 2 open strokes to start the second side. Make sure twizzles are rotated quick enough and don't become double 3 turns. Try putting all the steps on this pattern to 4 counts of 8. Senior moves test, the senior spiral sequence. The focus for this move is extension and edge quality. Standards and expectations. Mastery of edge control in accordance with pattern. Sustained free leg positions clearly above hip level. Refined presentation. Effortless flow with deep edges throughout. This move has a maximum of 7 optional introductory steps. And may start in either direction. The mohawk and the back crossovers on this move are allowed to regress, and all spirals should be sustained with an extended free leg position. The M pattern is optional. And please maintain a safe environment when practicing back spirals in a crowded session. Common errors: inability to maintain flow and extension throughout, incorrect pattern, incomplete ice coverage, spirals not sustained on clear, sure edges. This revised move changes the last lobe of the original pattern, but the rest of the move remains the same. After the forward inside spiral to backward outside spiral, the skater will now do a backward outside to backward outside cross stroke, not a cross step, finishing in a backward outside swing roll, pushing into a forward outside triple three turn ending on a back inside edge, then pushing onto a forward inside edge instead of a forward outside edge, followed by an extended forward inside three turn into a forward outside crossover, finishing off the pattern with a half circle forward outside spiral. This pattern is then repeated going the other direction on the opposite foot. Again, it's now a cross stroke, not a cross step after the backward outside spirals. And the step forward after the triple three turn is onto a forward inside edge, not a forward outside edge, as the old move used to be. Senior moves. Serpentine step sequence. Focuses for this move are edge quality and continuous flow. Standards and expectations. Mastery of each singular element. Clean execution of all turns. Clean execution of all twizzles and choctaws. Maintain serpentine pattern. Refined performance and strong body positions. Lobes throughout skating on deep edges on tight lobes. Full ice coverage and effortless execution and presentation. This move starts with a maximum of 7 optional introductory steps and can start with either direction and either foot starting. The end pattern of this move is completely optional. This move is to be considered similar to a final exam. It consists of a majority of the skating elements that have been learned throughout the moves and field test structure. It should be skated with strong edges and a performance quality that befits someone earning a gold medal. Common errors. Inability to maintain flow and edge quality throughout. Difficulty executing continuously flowing open and closed mohawks. Loss of upper body control. Incorrect edges on turns and steps. Twizzles becoming double 3 turns. Inability to skate both directions of equal quality. This move starts with a forward outside 3 turn, then a back outside double 3 into a cross in front. 3 toe steps follow, then a cross in front again. Next is a step forward onto an outside edge, pushing into a forward inside 2.5 rotation twizzle, into a back outside edge, cross stroke into a back 3 turn, into 5 quick mohawk turns known as Scotty turns. Then it's back inside, counter, immediately into a forward inside rocker, another back inside step, back inside rocker, mohawk, bracket, cross behind, bracket, pull, outer to outer counter, cross stroke, cross behind, forward inside choctaw, inside counter, stepping into a back inside double twizzle, and then stepping on the axis to step into a back inside loop to finish the first side of this move. The end pattern of this move is optional, and the move restarts on the center axis for the second side. Again, starts with a forward outside 3, and it's a back outside double 3 turn cross in front. Now it's important that these toe steps continue rotating around with a cross in front, and it steps forward into an outside edge, not an inside edge, to a 2.5 rotation twizzle, immediately into a back cross stroke, back 3 turn, into a series of 5 quick mohawks. These are called flying mohawks or Scotty turns. This counter rocker sequence should be turned on the center axis of the rink, and it's basically the midpoint of the move. The second bracket should be placed on the top of the second circle. And this sequence coming up is considered similar to a Killian Choctaw sequence. All leg and arm positions are optional on all elements. This twizzle has 2 full revolutions, and again you step on the axis to do the back inside loop, which is the only element past the axis on the end. Dedication, making of the video, and credits.